Welcome to Vantage Points, where we bring you the latest news from Indonesia. Let's get into today's top stories. Tonight, a chilling act of violence has sent shockwaves through Bali and beyond. One Australian national is dead, and another seriously injured following a targeted shooting in the early hours of Saturday morning. The victims, both men, were staying at a villa in the usually tranquil tourist region of Sese, Bali.
Authorities responded to the villa at approximately 12:20 a.m. local time on June 14th after receiving reports of gunfire. Inside, they discovered the body of Zivan Radmanik, 32, who had been fatally shot. His companion, Sanar Ghanim, 35, also from Australia, was found alive but seriously injured. He is currently being treated at a local hospital under police guard. Police recovered evidence of a violent altercation, bloodstains on the floor, multiple bullet holes in the villa's glass doors, and other physical signs of a struggle. Officers believe the assailants forced their way into the property. According to one witness, who spoke with investigators, two individuals arrived at the villa on a motorbike. Both were wearing motorcycle helmets, obscuring their identities. The witness also reported hearing yelling and shouting in what sounded like Australian accents, just moments before the shots were fired. Bali police say they are pursuing multiple leads and examining surveillance footage from the surrounding area. The possibility of a contract killing or criminal dispute is not being ruled out. The case has drawn particular attention due to Sanar Ghanim's background. Ghanim is reported to have ties to organized crime in Australia and was previously in a romantic relationship with the daughter of Roberta Williams, the widow of notorious Melbourne underworld figure Carl Williams. While no direct link between Ghanim's personal relationships and the shooting has been established, the connection has raised serious questions about the motive behind the attack. Investigators in both Indonesia and Australia are now exploring whether the incident may be connected to transnational criminal activity and whether Ghanim or Radmanik were specifically targeted. As the investigation unfolds, police say they are examining passport records, rental contracts, and phone data linked to both victims and any known associates. The shooting, with its underworld connections, international victims, and potential for wider criminal implications, has put Bali's safety and the presence of foreign organized crime under renewed scrutiny. As reported by TV1 News.
I guess it's hard going on a vacation when apparently these crime organizations never take a day off. The government is showing its seriousness in tackling one of Indonesia's most urgent environmental threats: coastal flooding. With over 50 million lives at stake along Java's northern coast, a mega project valued at more than $80 billion is now being fast-tracked under President Prabowo's administration. But is this giant seawall the answer, or are we building future problems in concrete?
President Prabowo Subianto is pushing for the immediate acceleration of the giant seawall project. Rising sea levels, coastal erosion, and land subsidence are turning from long-term warnings into visible destruction. In villages near the coast, the ocean has already swallowed homes and infrastructure. Only a handful of families remain. In North Jakarta, tidal flooding, especially during supermoon events, reaches up to 60 centimeters. Residents face regular disruptions, from damaged homes to halted economic activity. The giant seawall was first conceptualized in 2014 under President Susilo Bambang Yudhoyono, and later brought back into focus during the Joko Widodo administration as part of the National Capital Integrated Coastal Development Plan. Despite initial momentum, the project stalled for years due to political shifts, budget constraints, and environmental concerns. Under Prabowo's leadership, the plan is now back in motion. On June 10, 2025, President Prabowo led a high-level meeting with his cabinet to reactivate the project. The giant seawall is expected to span 500 kilometers along Java's northern coastline, with construction projected to take 10 to 15 years, completed in phases. The financial cost is immense. Nationally, it is expected to exceed $80 billion. The Jakarta segment alone, covering just 41 kilometers, will require around $8 billion. While the government emphasizes urgency, the project faces significant scrutiny. Environmental experts warn of long-term vulnerabilities. Placing heavy concrete infrastructure on top of soft, sinking soil could result in a cycle of continuous upgrades and reinforcements, especially as sea levels continue to rise and coastal land sinks further due to groundwater extraction and urban development. In addition to engineering concerns, environmentalists are advocating for large-scale mangrove restoration to complement the wall. Though slower to show results, restored mangrove forests could provide long-term protection, reduce wave energy, and rebuild natural ecosystems along the coast. To offset the financial burden, the government is actively inviting foreign and domestic investment. Officials say several international stakeholders have already shown serious interest in participating. The giant seawall, once just a proposal, is now becoming a reality. But as Indonesia moves forward with this ambitious undertaking, the question remains: will this be the shield the nation needs, or the beginning of an even greater challenge?
The giant seawall is coming. Whether we're building a climate fortress or just giving the ocean something new to chew on, time will tell. Brought to us by Lipitan 6. A viral video circulating on social media has sparked widespread debate after capturing a tense traffic incident in central Java. The footage, recorded by a bystander in Sayung, Demak Regency, shows a police patrol car allegedly driving against the flow of traffic, an act meant to clear the way for a convoy of officials.
The patrol vehicle can be seen aggressively entering the oncoming lane, attempting to push through the traffic. But its move is abruptly halted when a truck traveling in the correct direction refuses to yield, bringing the convoy to a full stop and resulting in a dramatic standoff that drew the attention of nearby residents. The video has since drawn criticism from netizens across the country. Many have condemned what they describe as reckless and entitled behavior by those meant to uphold the law. Comments online highlight growing frustration with the misuse of power on public roads, especially when it puts regular motorists at risk. As of now, there has been no official comment from the local police in Demak. However, this incident has reignited a familiar debate. Should VIP escorts be allowed to bend traffic rules at the expense of public safety?
Perhaps this officer was raised by salmon. Brought to us by Tribune X. Good news for Jakarta residents longing for cleaner air in public spaces. Jakarta Governor Prabowo Anung has reaffirmed his administration's commitment to enforcing smoke-free zones across the capital. The policy is not a total smoking ban, but instead seeks to strictly regulate smoking in crowded public areas.
The move comes amid growing concerns over Indonesia's high tobacco consumption rates. According to the World Health Organization, Indonesia has one of the highest smoking rates in the world, with over 65% of adult males being smokers and more than 20 million youth exposed to secondhand smoke. Smoking-related illnesses continue to place a heavy burden on the country's healthcare system. The Jakarta provincial government, through its health department and the Special Committee of the Regional House of Representatives, DPRD, is now finalizing the regional regulation draft on smoke-free zones within the capital. Governor Prabowo emphasized that the regulation aims to balance personal freedom with public health priorities. This isn't a total ban on smoking, Prabowo said. People can still smoke, just not in areas filled with people. There will be designated smoking zones. Even in developed countries, open-air smoking is restricted in many places. The draft includes strict penalties for violators. Smokers caught in restricted zones could face a fine of up to 250,000 rupiah or be required to perform social work sanctions. Final sanction details, however, are still under review. This effort is part of a broader campaign to reduce exposure to secondhand smoke, especially among children and vulnerable populations. According to government data, exposure to passive smoking in Indonesia's households and public areas remains alarmingly high. Governor Prabowo added, "We want Jakarta to reflect modern urban values, where personal habits don't come at the cost of public health." If passed, the regulation is expected to improve the city's air quality, reduce health risks, and help Indonesia inch closer to meeting its tobacco control commitments under the Framework Convention on Tobacco Control, FCTC, which Indonesia has still not ratified. From Jakarta, TV1 News.
Some of the places smoking will be banned include health facilities, public transport, places of worship, children's areas, and educational institutions. A young mixed martial arts fighter has tragically passed away following a recent competition. Brought to you by Compass TV.
Muhammad Rizal, a 19-year-old MMA athlete from Kuburaya District, West Kalimantan, died after taking part in the second series of the fierce fighting event held from May 16th to 18th, 2025. The match took place at Octo Sport and Lifestyle Hub, but what was meant to be a platform for talent ended in tragedy. According to event organizer Didit Para Riza, Rizal fought through several rounds before the referee called a halt to the match, deeming him unfit to continue. Moments later, as Rizal was removing his protective gear outside the ring, he collapsed. When he collapsed, the medical team acted immediately, We provided oxygen and rushed him to Parata Medica Jaya Hospital within 5 minutes. Rizal was hospitalized for a week, but never fully regained consciousness. He passed away some days later on the 24th. His father, Maturi, shared that Rizal had expressed his dreams clearly before the match, to achieve greatness and to one day become a police officer. What started as a hobby had grown into a true passion. He said it was for a hobby at first, but then he told me he wanted to compete. I gave him permission for the sake of achievement. Maturi stated, despite the heartbreak, the father expressed his gratitude for how the organizers handled the aftermath, including the funeral arrangements. The family has come to terms with Rizal's passing and now mourns the loss of their son.
As the sun sets on a young life full of promise, we remember Mohammad Rizal not just as a fighter in the ring, but as a son, a dreamer, and a symbol of youth chasing ambition. Our deepest condolences go out to his family, friends, and all those who stood in his corner. A tragic incident has marred a traditional cockfighting event in Kintamani, Bali. One man is dead, and another hospitalized following a violent confrontation involving sharp weapons. Police are currently investigating, but no suspect has yet been named.
The fight broke out on Saturday, June 14th at approximately 4:30 p.m. local time during a cockfighting event held in Songan village. The event had been underway since midday and drew a number of local residents. According to Kintamani police chief, the altercation involved two individuals, 37-year-old Komang Alam, a local resident of Songan village, and Mang Kulis, a recently released convict, who had only been out of prison for 2 months. Eyewitnesses say Mang Kulis arrived at the location appearing heavily intoxicated and was reportedly looking for the cockfight organizer. A dispute soon escalated into a physical confrontation. Komang Alam suffered a fatal stab wound to the abdomen, while Mang Kulis was injured by a rooster's spur. By 5 p.m., both were rushed to the hospital. Tragically, Komang Alam was declared dead on arrival. His body was later transferred to Bangli General Hospital upon family request. Mang Kulis, now undergoing intensive care, has reportedly been questioned by local authorities. Still, the police say it's too early to determine whether he will be charged.
One day we are going to learn how to pronounce these names without insulting everyone listening. And finally, a 32-year-old, who has been residing in Bali for the past 5 years, was apprehended after officers discovered 2 small packets containing cocaine and MDMA in his left trouser pocket.
The arrest unfolded during a traffic operation known as a razzia, conducted by the traffic unit of the Badung police. According to authorities, NPJ initially resisted when asked to produce his vehicle documents, but as he finally reached into his pocket, a packet of suspected narcotics fell to the ground, prompting officers to secure him immediately. NPJ, identified as a Christian and reported to sell jewelry online. The evidence seized includes 0.85 grams of cocaine and 0.53 grams of MDMA. Police say the suspect admitted to obtaining the drugs from another individual and planned to consume them at the villa where he was staying. Badung Police Chief Arif Badabara confirmed that NPJ is being investigated further at the police station and now faces charges under Indonesia's strict narcotics law, which carries a minimum penalty of 4 years behind bars.
That wraps up our coverage for today. If you found this report informative, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you never miss an update. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.